Unlike many other brands who have gone to turbocharged smaller motors for their big SUVs, Jeep stuck with a naturally aspirated 6.4-liter V8 for their Grand Wagoneer luxury three-row crossover. How does that fare out on the highway? Are we going to do better than the EPA's number? Let's go find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2022 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. In this test we're going to go out and do about 25 miles out and 25 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a realistic fuel economy number for this Jeep. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Completely new for 2022, the Grand Wagoneer. I've got the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer. The Grand Wagoneer is more of the luxury version, competing with things like the Lincoln Navigator and Cadillac Escalade, and I will say it does a very good job at hanging with both of those. This is the Series 2 model. I like how they did the trims, the Series 1 through Series 4, with the Series 4 being the nicest. But this Series 2 has all sorts of amenities as well, so if you do want to see more on it, check the links in the description. We've got a review of the Macintosh audio system, as well as a DM test drive shot by Mr. Brower. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this Grand Wagoneer 19 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are people who'd be taking this vehicle on long road trips filled up with kids and all sorts of junk. And they'd like to know what sort of numbers they can realistically expect in the real world. In order to do that, we're going to head on over to the gas station here, fill up, go out and do 50 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. A few things to note for today. Outside temperature is 29 degrees Fahrenheit. Our tire pressures have been set to their door placard, 40 psi cold. And we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. Now yes, this might use the air conditioner or compressor or something, but that's how people travel in the real world, and without it, we would freeze. So let's hop out and fill it up. Unfortunately, the Grand Wagoneer does use premium fuel, so this is our quick opportunity to ask for a like and subscribe. You will notice we are at a different gas station than usual, and that's because I'm trying to give up using Shell gas for these tests because it's so much more expensive. It's 50 cents more per gallon to fill up a premium at the Shell station. It's $1 more for premium than it is for regular, and I think that's ridiculous. I know it's different in different regions, and we'd love to use Shell gas, but paying an extra $1 over regular just seems a little crazy to me. So here we are at a sketchy speedway. Maybe this might be the new DM test station. 14.518 gallons going in for our first fill. Before we actually start the engine, we're going to reset our trip computer here. And we're ready to begin. A few different drive modes in the Grand Wagoneer. You've got rock, sand, mud, snow, auto, and sport. We're going to be doing this test in auto. We're going to take it nice and easy over the highway. It's about half a mile away. And pick up the test from there. Now the goal of this test isn't hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible number, but rather a realistic fuel economy number for this car. In order to do that, we're going to head up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour. Now with this little bit shorter test, we probably won't average 70, but we should get pretty close over the whole test. And I love how strong this 6.4 is. Just pulling up highway, you barely have to breathe on the throttle. They might have it tuned a little aggressively, but hey, for a luxury vehicle, I don't really fault them for that. Now our GPS, unfortunately, is not sticking to the windshield for some reason, so I am going to have to try to reach down and pull that up here in a second. Fortunately, we have a steering assist. Well, our usual speedometer app is straight up not working. No idea why, but we can see from other phone, backup phone, that we are doing 73 miles per hour. Initial highway impressions, not quite as quiet as I would expect, a little bit more road noise than I would want for this price of vehicle, but other than that, extremely comfortable. You've got massaging seats, heated and cooled, all that good stuff. I like this layout of the steering wheel, how I can grab down here or up here, the whole thing's heated. It's a nice place to be. So we're going to continue on with the rest of the test and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Grand Wagoneer. No big surprise that this is a plenty nice place to be. Like I said, you do hear a little bit more of that wind noise than I'd like, and I'm noticing quite a lot of cold air coming from this window, this sunroof here, but it's probably not too out of the ordinary either. Other than that, it's nice. We're not getting the best fuel economy, 17.4 miles per gallon according to the dash. That's a little bit below EPA and just objectively not fantastic. That being said, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would gladly trade off a little bit of fuel economy for a good, solid, reliable, naturally aspirated V8, bunch of power. One very strange thing is that neither of my Android GPS devices would work. The location was completely not working on them. So I'd be curious if anyone else who owns either a Grand Wagoneer or just a newer Jeep or Chrysler product, have you had any issues with using GPS? For some reason my iPhone was working just fine, but neither of the Android devices were working. And that being said, there's no SIM cards in either of them, but they're the phones that I use all the time for all these tests, so for them to not work is kind of weird. So either way, we're going to get back to the gas station here, fill this thing back up, and calculate our final fuel economy number. 3.066 gallons going in for our final fill. 53.9 divided by 3.066 is giving us 17.58 miles per gallon, just barely rounding up to 18. Now I bet you would be able to see 18 pretty regularly with warmer weather and cruising longer on the highway, but keep in mind, if you go faster than 70 or so, just over 70, you're going to see a little bit lower than that as well. We do have a 26.5 gallon fuel tank, so 26.5 times 18 miles per gallon is getting you effective highway cruising range of 470 miles here in the 2022 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. So maybe not quite as good as some of its competitors, but again, some people are going to be willing to pay a little bit more to have that great 6.4 liter engine in here. This thing is actually pretty darn quick, and it's satisfying to drive too. So trade-offs there, but overall, pretty average number for this type of vehicle. Thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Grand Wagoneer, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.